it's really easy to also, I think, let that inner saboteur, when you hit a challenge or a hurdle or a roadblock, almost like confirm, like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm not worth it. And to that I say, you are worthy and you are capable. And I think when you have an institution where you have human beings that care deeply about you as a person, you as a student, and want you to reach your goal as much as anyone else, like, that is a gift.
Today we are talking about one of the most important things at SNHU, and that's academic advising. But to start really easy, can you just introduce yourself and your role here at SNHU?
Yeah, my name is Jess Caldwell, and I am one of the directors of academic advising at Southern New Hampshire University.
Awesome. Well, it's great to meet you. And to start off, can you just tell me, what is academic advising?
Yeah, what is academic advising? I'm not going to lie to you, when I first just thought of this question and how I would answer, the first thing that came to mind was, like, you know how in biology class you learn, like, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Like, that's kind of how I view advising at Southern New Hampshire University. And it's not to say that there are, obviously, every department and every role is critical in the student's journey to getting to graduation and beyond. But I think a lot about, like, if I were to make an analogy in a standardized testing, it'd be like, mitochondria is to cell as what advising is to SNU. And that's because, honestly, advisors are incredible at what they do, and they really are a conduit for not only the student to understand kind of the world of SNU and college, because that in itself can be a really complex kind of path to make your way through. But they also can connect you with the right people. So advisors don't have the answers to everything, and they aren't, they don't know financial aid, and they aren't academics in the sense that, they're not grading your assignments, but they'll connect you to the people that you need in order to be successful.
Yeah, I can say in my role here, we meet a ton of students, and I've been here for almost 10 years, and almost every single student we meet talks about how important their advisor was to their success.
Yes. So yes, I love that.
What role does an academic advisor play in a student's academic journey here?
I will say, an advisor can kind of take the role that a student really wants them to. So I know that there are advisors who have these incredible relationships with students, and they chat on the phone regularly, or they might email back and forth regularly. And then there are students, depending on what they need and want, they might just reach out when they're feeling stuck or have a question that they don't really know where to get the answer to. But advisors are also here. We are making your course plans, so setting up the path in which you will order in which you're going to take your classes, and they get you registered for your courses. And ultimately, what I think about the role of an advisor is, our job is to make a student's journey as frictionless as possible. Like, let's make the hardest part about going back to school and becoming a college graduate the coursework. Like, let that be the thing that the students focus on. And that way, all of the things that you might need to be translated in the college world, because we know, like, going to college, there's so many things that if you've never done that before, you need somebody perhaps to tell you, like, what resources exist? What is this? How do I do this? And that's what the advisor is there for too. So really just kind of a guide, and also a huge support system. Like, every advisor wants to see a student reach their goal just as badly as the student does. And so what a gift to have somebody like that in your life. Like, every goal I set for myself, I would love to have somebody just, like, along the way, not just telling me, hey, you're doing an amazing job, but also to maybe nudge me if they were to notice, like, hey, you're doing some stuff that I don't know that if you keep going on this path, you're going to reach the goal that you told me you wanted to reach. So how can I help? Because they care so much about wanting to help their students achieve their goals. Like, it is, they are also the biggest cheerleaders. And sometimes, students, that might be the only person. The advisor might be the only person that a student tells that they're going to school. And so that's also really precious. Like, that's a gift to be in that goal with that student. And we get to be on that journey with them, celebrate along the way, and then watching them walk across the stage is magical.
That's a great answer. And it kind of leads into my next question, which is what can an academic advisor help students with?
I feel like it might be easier to be like, what can't an advisor do? But
Right.
oh no, advisors can help with a lot. I mentioned already that, they'll help with course planning, they get a student registered, but they're here to really answer questions. If you're not sure what to do or where to go, like I said, an advisor may not actually know the answer or be the appropriate person to give you that information, but they will also help you build some confidence. If you have a question about an assignment or why did I get this grade that I received, an advisor is really there to point you and help guide you. Why don't you outreach your instructor? And maybe that's intimidating for some. So let's build your confidence. How can I help you get comfortable doing this? How can I help you become an advocate for yourself? Because we all deserve to be advocates for ourselves. And advisors will be an advocate for their students. And for those that might need that support, like, let us help you build the skills so you can be an advocate for yourself too. Like I said, they know so many resources. They will provide resources that are course specific, resources to help you in your academic journey. They can send tutorials, connect you with other departments, and even just be a sounding board, right? And I also think as with any kind of trusted confidant, like an advisor is also there to give you the hard truth sometimes. We all need people in our lives to maybe tell you when it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I want to provide you with a different perspective, because we all need people like that in our lives. And going to college is a big thing. And we want to provide you with the skills and perspectives and resources that students can get there themselves.
So when does that relationship start? How and when do academic advisors and students usually communicate?
Once a student registers for their very first courses at Southern New Hampshire University, they are then assigned an advisor who will reach out, usually in the next couple of days, to introduce themselves. And we engage with students' phone, email. Those are the primary two modalities of communication. And it can honestly be about what does that student want and need. So some students are like, I'll call you. I'll call you. And it's like, okay, great. And then other students may want to have more regular check-ins along the way. We can do that too. And so I think it's really about communication. What's working? What's not? How do we get on the same page with what support a student needs? Because everyone is really different and unique and will have different needs. And going back to college is not a week-long journey. It can also ebb and flow. So while somebody might start feeling like they don't need that much support, sometimes things come up in our lives and you all of a sudden need more support. Guess what? We can help with that. You just tell us, be in communication with advising, and we will get you, we will support you and work with you in a way that will help you achieve your goals.
Well, that's the perfect lead into my next question, which is how do academic advisors help their students when they're experiencing various life circumstances such as unexpected illness or loss?
Yes. I want to circle back. One thing that I feel like is important to note too is that advisors have really wonderful optics into how students are doing. So I keep calling I've been in advising for 13 years. I am entrenched in this department. I'm speaking for the department as a whole. But advising has such strong optics into how students are doing. So we will outreach based on that as well. And it's not because we're like, oh, we see you missed an assignment, I'm here to judge you or shame you. But it's really about I'm concerned about you. Is everything okay? How can I help? How can I be of service to you, knowing that you started college for a reason and I can help you get to the finish line? And so when it comes to when would you hear from your advisor, you'll hear from them when there's important information for them to relay. Maybe they notice that grades are slipping, or maybe they notice that assignments are missing. Maybe they notice that you are absolutely crushing it in your classes and they want to celebrate. Maybe there is other information that they are privy to that they want to share. And so they're going to reach out and talk to you about it. So we are not, advisors aren't just sitting here being like, I'll just wait for people to reach out to me. They do a lot of proactive outreach. I like to call it intrusive advising because we're not going to wait for you to figure out that there's a problem. Let us be of service sooner rather than later so that we can help you. And then back to the next question you asked. When life happens, and I don't know a situation where life has not happened. But the main reason that I have been in advising at Southern New Hampshire University for 13 years is because of the people, both the staff and the students. Students are remarkable. And the things that come up in their lives that are sometimes just devastatingly tragic, incredibly challenging, that they continue to persevere through is unbelievably, like, it's inspiring. And when that happens, an advisor is really there to just be a human being, right? And hear you, what's happening, and then how can we help from an academic perspective, right? How is what's going on in your life? What do you need? How is this impacting school? We can provide, different, we'll paint the picture of, like, what are the different options that you have? And what is the best path for the student to choose to make? We can't make that decision for the student. We're not you. We don't know everything that's going on. And we can say, all right, here are the things, ask some questions to really better understand. But I think ultimately, a lot of what I hear from students and have over the years is how an advisor was just there for somebody when things were really hard. And there are oftentimes when we hear, we've wondered what happened with a student, right? Maybe all of a sudden they just stopped submitting work, and advisor tries to outreach and engage and get to hear from them. And when we finally do, we hear that a big life event happened and they didn't reach out and tell us. And one of the first things I think an advisor will share after hearing what's going on is like, I wish you had told me, I wish you had reached out to connect with me, not only because I just would have been able to be there and offer condolences about what's going on. To quote Samwise Gamgee, like, I'll share the load to some respect, right? Like, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, but like, I'm a human being and they care deeply about their students. But also, like, I could have helped provide like options. We could have talked about, okay, what's going on? How long do you think this might impact you? And what are the best options for us to consider taking moving forward?
So why is it important to look for a college with a supportive academic advising team?
Yeah. Oh, going to college can be a really daunting task. It is a commitment, not only monetarily, but with your time. And as with any goal, I think it's really easy to talk yourself out of it. I know I've talked myself out of goals. I've said, like, it's not the right time. There's a million reasons why I could talk myself out of not doing something that maybe I really should do. And also, we all have kind of this inner saboteur, and somebody that tells us that we're not good enough. And anyone who tells you that college was easy is a liar. It's a liar. College is challenging. You will learn things that you've never learned before. That's the point, right? We go to school to expand our mind, learn perspectives we've never heard before, and learn new information. And that means with that comes challenges. And there might be times where somebody gets into a class and it is hard. It is like, I really hope. I had that when I was in college. I was like, if I pass this course, it is a miracle because it's so challenging. And at that point, a D was a win. I was like, I just don't want to have to take it again. I'm just going to do what I can to get by. And so it's really easy to also, I think, let that inner saboteur, when you hit a challenge or a hurdle or a roadblock, almost like confirm, like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I'm not worth it. This isn't for me. Or it reinforces, unfortunately, what some people have been told their whole lives. You are not college material. You cannot do this. And to that I say, you are worthy and you are capable. And I think when you have an institution where you have human beings that care deeply about you as a person, you as a student, and want you to reach your goal as much as anyone else, like, that is a gift. And so they are there. Advisors are there when somebody's like, I can't do this. And it's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I, like I said, I've heard that from students for years that, if it wasn't for my advisor, I would have given up. My advisor continued to motivate me because it really is, college is hard. And it's a long journey. It's like I said, it's not this goal that you can achieve in like 2 weeks. It is something that will take commitment, and there will be challenges and there will be hurdles. And I think the other thing that an advisor do is normalize that, because it can often feel like you're on an island, right? You're like, am I the only one that hates math? Am I the only one who struggles with this paper? When in reality, everyone struggles. Every single college graduate struggled with an assignment, struggled with a class. Maybe they failed a class. Maybe they failed a couple classes, because guess what? Life happens. But we are here to help you pick yourself back up, dust yourself back off, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, it's such a great answer. And, I think one of people's concerns when they go to an online school is that they're just going to be just a number, but it's so great to know there's an actual human there that cares about you in your journey. And like I said, I've met students all across the country who all say such amazing things about their advisors and how they couldn't do without them. I've actually even surprised them with their advisor, and that's always cool because they get emotional it's the best.
It's a tearjerker for sure when that. Don't even get me started on the surprise advisor drop in. Love that.
I have one last question, and you've done a great job of this already, but I'd love to hear more. What's something you want every student to know about academic advising, or something you wished every student asked their advisor?
What do I wish every student knew? I think that I wish that every student really knew and understood the value that an advisor brings. And I think that if you've never gone to college before, or you've been at a college at a different institution, you may actually not understand the magic that is academic advising at Southern New Hampshire University. And so I really wish that people understood how much of a difference having somebody in your corner in an institution really is. And we actually have a lot of advisors who part of their motivation for being in this role is because of the lack of support they had when they were in college. Or conversely, how big of a difference having somebody in their corner made a difference in their college experience. And so I think that a lot of times students can come in not really truly understanding or realizing what a gift and a gem and a jewel of a human their advisor is. And they quickly learn, though. And obviously you've heard it, I've heard it, I've seen it. And I think what's also amazing is the types of relationships and bonds that are built purely through phone and email communication. Usually graduation is the first time students are meeting their advisor for the first time in person. And it's like watching old friends meet, and the fact that relationship has been curated purely over the phone and over email is incredible to me. And that's awesome.